Hello and welcome to our 7th episode of the unofficial SAP on Azure video podcast. Today is August 28th and Goran is actually still on vacation. So together with Robert only this time, we'll continue to talk about anything related to SAP on Azure. We have again a few updates from this week, like we want to take a look at the ongoing Devtoberfest from SAP. We want to highlight upcoming developer training from Microsoft, and then we'll take a quick look at a new cluster setup using shared disks. Then we also have a special guest today, but our special guest is actually Robert. So in one of our previous episodes, there was a request to take another look at the proximity placement groups. So Robert will take another look at the proximity placement groups, and yeah, we'll just have a discussion around this. So let's get started.
Great.
Good. So let me actually quickly share my screen. I think we talked about this already last week or the week before, but SAP currently has this Devtoberfest going on, and as we discussed, there are also right now some enablement topics running. And this week, actually, DJ Adams has started to talk about, or kicked off the whole Devtober week and talked about the SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Service. And I watched a few of the episodes live. So they're always doing a live streaming or premiere streaming there, whatever it's called, on YouTube, and DJ is in the calls and answering questions in the chat, and it's actually a pretty nice introduction. So really starting from the scratch, how to set up workflow on the SAP Cloud Platform, and then how to develop your first workflow. Today in the episode, it was about accessing contextual information. So it was a really nice introduction into the topic of SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Services. All the videos are there. All the videos are obviously on YouTube. Next week, we'll talk, or SAP will talk about the ABAP environment. So I have to admit, I have not really paid a lot of attention to the SAP Cloud Platform ABAP environment. So I'm really looking forward to this as well. And then, in the following weeks, obviously there's some other cool content that will be presented. So if you have not yet checked it out, I can only recommend take a look at the Devtoberfest from SAP.
Okay, great.
The next thing that I stumbled across actually was an announcement for a new virtual event, a 2-day virtual event that addresses developers, or beginners, developers beginner in the Microsoft's ecosystem, so to say. It's a 2-day event, mainly in the US time zone, but I guess some of you know that I'm a huge fan of the Power Platform. So the first day will be just an introduction to development. I have to admit, I don't know exactly what it means, but we'll probably see some tooling, some introduction on different programming languages and stuff like that. And on the second day, there will be an introduction to the Power Platform. So Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI with this low-code, no-code approach, which I really like. As you might have seen, we published some videos on the Power Apps, Power Automate story already. I recently looked into Power Virtual Agents, which is also really interesting, and hopefully I'll be able to publish some videos on this as well. So I think, especially if you're in the US time zone, take a look. So they also have some very cool speakers for this event. So I think this can be something really interesting.
Great. Interesting.
The last thing, we talked about this already, but now we have really the documentation out there. It's about the shared disks in Azure. So now there's the official documentation, how you can build out a Windows Failover cluster using the shared disk, so all the documentation is there. And since actually Goran was one of the people that are really involved in all the testing here and all the making sure this really works, we said, well, we'll only mention this blog today, and hopefully next week Goran is back from vacation, and then he will be our special guest, similar like Robert today, to really dig deeper and take a closer look at shared disk, and maybe he can show us this live. Also compare this maybe with other offerings. Obviously, there's also, I mean, you can work with Windows Failover Clusters even today using iOS. So we'll have a deeper dive next week with Goran.
Goran's favorite topic.
Yeah, I think a few years back he had a nice presentation at DSAC and I think also at TechEd. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is really one of his favorite topics where he knows everything. So
yeah, because during his time in SAP, he was actually responsible for that part of testing on Windows side and all the stuff. So he's really deep in that topic.
Ah, cool! I didn't know. So we'll ask a lot of complicated questions to him. And again, I mean, actually, I think we all of us got quite a lot of feedback and also some suggestions for upcoming videos. Similar, if you have some questions, especially now for next week for the failover cluster, let us know, and we'll make sure to ask Goran about them.
Great.
Cool. So with this time much quicker overview, Robert, let's switch over to you. I think you have prepared some interesting content.
Yeah, I mean, I plan to use a little bit whiteboard, and I will just share my screen. And actually, I start to play today with new functionality of the team. Probably it's not new. I just discovered it before a few days. So I mean, I'm sharing my screen now on my main device, where is camera here. But okay, let's switch to Proximity Placement Group, and I don't want to go and describe what Proximity Placement Group, because we have very nice. I mean, we have many content in our documentation, and we have very nice video for our colleagues. And one of the colleagues is John Saville, have a very nice Proximity Placement Group overview in his own fashion. He's doing that very nicely and in a funny way. And I mean, this is very good overview. So I will not go super deep. So I'm taking assumption that we already understand more or less what is about when we are discussing about Proximity Placement Group. And now I'm using new functionality, what I just explained. So I will now switch to my new another device, and I will actually from another device share my screen.
So basically, you are connected from two devices with your user to this
exactly
session.
And as you see now, if you take a look now in the session, you see still it's just one Robert here. So I don't have two accounts here connected. So it's just connecting with one account, but two devices. So now it's my notebook because I want to use my pen. It's just camera is still coming from my main device. Yeah. So
we should now test with another device. So you need a third device.
So do you want that I dial with a mobile or?
No, you should get a Surface Duo.
Exactly. So dear Microsoft, we would like to have 3 Surface Duo here. It's okay. By the way, when you are discussing about when we are discussing on the beginning about these sessions or podcasts, what we are running, you always start, okay, this is unofficial Microsoft video, but all of us, we are talking about, we are doing that. We should stop with that because Microsoft is doing this unofficial video. So we are not now part of Microsoft. We are unofficially. Yeah, but okay, it's just funny. So okay. I mean, Proximity Placement Group, I would like to start from one very interesting point, because when we are discussing about Azure, we always start somehow to map our on-premise mentality, our on-premise thinking, and we are thinking, okay, this is somewhere data center somewhere, and there's a huge racks there, and it's, of course, this is true, yeah. And we call those racks fault domains because from our perspective, it's a single point of failure, and of course we have this many pizza boxes, many hosts in these racks, and every of those racks is actually one cluster cluster node. And of course, if I now start and I want to deploy my virtual machine over the portal or PowerShell or command line interface, what I'm doing is actually, I'm just going somewhere in portal, and I will probably get some virtual machine probably somewhere here. If I create another virtual machine, I will maybe get it in same rack, in same fault domain, but maybe I will also this third machine will maybe go to somewhere else. So this is okay for most of the application. This is okay. This approach to simply getting resources is okay. But if I somehow have an option, or if I have a system, I will not now talk directly about SAP system. Let's assume that I have a classical client server system, where I have one application layer and one database layer. Probably I would like to, split that logic in different fault domain, because I want to be sure if something is failing, I don't want that complete my system is failing, so that I have somehow some kind of resilience there. And in general, if I want to do that, I need somehow to explain to Azure, hey, please, these two machines is part of my logical set. So please treat that two machines like one logical set. And this is what we are doing with availability set. So if I put two machines in availability set actually guarantee exactly this. So that, for example, if I have two machines that, okay, now he's trying to be intelligent. I don't want that he is now intelligent, but let's make a fake. So not complete circle. And then with availability set, I will get this guarantee that these two machines are cross two fault domains. But this is interesting. This is when we are talking about resilience. But what we are also receiving here, like a guarantee, we are receiving this proximity, because we have also a guarantee that these two machines are proximity close to each other, because they are part of in one DC, and they are probably part of a small line of the racks, and so on and so on. But we don't have the exact guarantee, but somehow we have a feeling that still we have one proximity here guarantee. But let's now go to one step on top of that and think from region perspective. So in one region, I have many DCs. So what may happen is that, of course, what I already discussed, that some of the machines in one DC, but also may happen that I have these machines cross different DCs. So may happen that I have something like this. Then, for example, my database is something like this. Okay. So now from some funny resilience thinking, I can say, okay, I probably safe now, but okay, maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on how application is working. But now I want to control that. I want to be sure that somehow I have resilience on one side, and also that I have proximity on the other side. So if I say that this, for example, 3 machines are part of one availability set, okay, then what will happen? These 3 machines will probably be part of this data center, and I'm safe from resilience perspective, because I know that they are cross fault domains. And also from proximity perspective, I have a little bit guarantee that they are more or less in the same data center, so probably I will have a low latency in this part. I mean, in our region perspective, we are always going in and promised or guarantee a latency below 2 milliseconds, but some loads like SAP loads are much more sensitive on that latency. So we want to really be sure that this proximity is really minimum. And then, of course, that latency is very minimum. So proximity means that we are somehow collecting all those machines close to each other. Philip, in our podcast number 5, discuss about availability zone. So I will not mention availability zone. So I'll just somehow mark what availability zone. So let's say this is one availability zone, this is another availability zone, and this is third availability zone. So availability zone is our concept where we are grouping data centers together. And we say, okay, let's now have a little bit more resilience on top of that level. So every availability zone have independent power, independent cooling, and so on, independent network connections, and so on. So we are, from resilience perspective, very safe on that side. And we are with SLA, our SLA perspective, going in the direction that we guarantee if customer is using zone or cross-zone landscape installation, that customer can receive from us 4 nines, 99.99 SLA. But what does it mean now from proximity perspective? From resilience perspective, I can say, okay, you know, this database now, what I have here is in one zone and another is another zone. So great. I mean, I have very high resilience here. So if one zone is gone, and of course, from HANA perspective, I have here system replication and so on, so on. So now I can switch to another node and continue to work with my system. So from that perspective, resilience perspective, I'm very safe. Of course, what is happening now with our application server now, because application server are now here in this place here, but you know, they are in availability set, but I don't have a guarantee they are in the same availability zone like my HANA, because I cannot mix the availability zone and availability set. Yeah, there's no way that in virtual machine I say, hey, you are part of availability zone and availability set in the same time. Virtual machine can be part of availability zone or availability set, not together. So now I need to find a way how I can actually define the proximity in a way that say, hey, I want all of that is together. Someone will naively maybe think, but you know, Robert, if you somehow define all those machines here, this red one, they are not part of availability set, but they are part of availability zone, the same zone like this machine here, then you have in one zone, true, from resilience perspective, I'm safe, but if I'm not if I going in that direction, that I don't have a guarantee that this virtual machine will not be in one data center in the same availability zone. This machine will be maybe in another data center in the same availability zone, and the third machine maybe will be here. Yeah? Or maybe those two machines will be in the same rack in the same availability zone. So from resilience perspective, it's not good option to have something like that. Now I need to have somehow glue to combine all those stuff together. And this is exactly where proximity placement group is coming. In proximity placement group, I'm defining proximity placement group and say, okay, now when I define proximity placement group, now I will simply grab or join all virtual machines inside this proximity placement group. And I will guarantee that everything what is happening, what is defined is this proximity placement group is part of one data center. But how? I have seen many questions in that direction, and people think, okay, probably I need to somehow sell the data center somewhere and say, hey, proximity placement group will be part of this data center. No, there's no option to select the data centers. So proximity placement group is working following way. So when I define proximity placement group, the first machine is actually the anchor machine. It's like a pin. Yeah? So when I say, okay, my first machine is D series, then, and let's say I will mark another color. So let's say we are talking about this here. So we select this D series and say, hey, this machine is part of my proximity group. Now proximity placement group is pinned to or anchored to this data center. And now everything what is now coming from all other machines in this proximity placement group will start to be deployed in this data center. Now may happen that if I start with D series and later start to join M series, may happen that I don't have M series, this exotic VMs in that data center, and then I will see the error. So the golden rule of creating proximity placement group start always with most exotic VMs like M series or HANA large instances. So first create proximity placement group and join first M series because they are very unique. Yeah, they're exotic from VM perspective, and we don't have M series in all data centers. That means, for example, you will probably start to create a proximity placement group in this DC where M series is located, and all other virtual machines like D series, E series are mostly in all data centers. So chance that you will have also D series and E series in this data center is very big. of course, may happen that you receive, again, issue that from capacity perspective is this virtual machine is not there. So then you need to have change another option. You need to go to this machine. So you need to switch availability zone, join this machine, HANA machine, into another availability zone and start again creating proximity placement group. And this is now interesting because now if you see that when I start the proximity placement group, my first machine is HANA machine or M series machine. Now I start to join my application server machine, for example, D series or E series. But I would like to keep availability set. And this is a very nice feature. I can join complete availability set to proximity placement group. So I don't need to go individual virtual machines in availability set. No, I just need to join availability set to my proximity placement group. And this is a way, if you now have a feeling what is happening, now this is a way how you can combine availability zone and availability set. How? So take a look. So if I say, for example, let's start from scratch. If I say that my machine is here, so this is my HANA machine. So this is my anchor machine, my first machine in PPG. Okay, now I say, okay, to this PPG, I will join, and this machine, I say this machine is in zone 3. Okay, so this machine is in zone 3. PPG started from this machine, so this is anchor machine. So all new machines must go in this data center. So if I now join the availability set in this PPG, that means that I say, hey, this availability set must be in this availability zone, actually must be in this data center. So this is a way how you actually combine availability set and availability zone over the PPG. Yeah? So then you actually have the smallest proximity, but still you're keeping your resilience, requirement resilience from availability set perspective and also availability zone perspective. Yeah.
Like so benefit from the fault domains and everything that is there. Exactly. And then still have everything close by, so low latency and all this kind of stuff. Exactly. But yeah.
Exactly. So, there's no concept that you start, people say, okay, but how to be sure that the first machine is already there? I mean, this is a part of our fabric controller. Our fabric controller will take this first machine, and say, hey, PPG start from this machine. This is anchor machine, or this is a pin machine. So everything else, what is coming to this PPG, will come close to this anchor machine. Yeah. So there's no way that that we are selecting data center and say, hey, we will start from this data center because we like it, and so there's no something like that, because our Azure common fabric controller is responsible for calculating or thinking about, okay, where is the best way to place those virtual machines. Yeah. So this is a PPG. So I already mentioned that we need to PPG is not cross availability zone. This is very important. So if I have, for example, one primary landscape, for example, my S4HANA, for example, landscape, and I have my high availability, another part of the landscape in another zone, here on the first, I need to have PPG organized, and on the second, I need to have PPG organized. So PPG is not going cross availability zones. Yeah? So give me proximity placement here and proximity placement on other side. But also, it's it's everything going direction. Let's first test what we really need, what customer really need, because availability set is already providing a little bit more proximity than what we are expecting. Okay, of course, if we have application server only in one availability set, for example, central service is another availability set, and HANA high availability 2 nodes in another third availability set. This is how we should organize it by the book. We have proximity between machines in one availability set, another, and third, but we don't have between them. Yeah? So this is where we need to have an anchor like PPG to combine all those stuff together, that we are sure that all those components are together in close proximity. Yeah. Sounds a little bit complex, but it's fun. I mean, it's very easy to test it, very easy to play with that. It's free. If you want to join to PPG machines which are not part of PPG, you can do it. You just need to stop virtual machine and join it to PPG. If you have availability set, you need to stop all virtual machine availability set and then join availability set to PPG. So it's not rocket science, but it's very interesting approach. I mean, for me, it's when I try to explain that to our partner, I always start from perspective that when you're starting in Azure, when you have portal in front of you, you are starting to construct your data center. You're building your data center. Yeah, you're placing virtual machines, 100 of them, but you need to tell Azure, hey, those machines you should treat in this way, those machines you should treat in this way. If I want to have a little bit more resilience or more SLA perspective, you need to somehow take part of that architecture suggestions, blueprints, or best practices. So you are building your virtual data center. So you need to tell Azure what you want.
Because Azure obviously doesn't know that you will have these virtual machines for the database, and these database servers need to be close by with your application servers. I mean, if you tell Azure in an availability set or something like that, you can already influence the resiliency, but obviously Azure doesn't know that we're now installing an SAP system, and that we need to have low latency between database and application layer and this kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you remember on our bootcamps, I always use funny way to explain that, because I pretend that I'm infrastructure below. I'm just seeing on top of me some virtual machines. I have no clue what they are. Yeah? I don't know what is inside. Yeah? So you need to tell me what you want. Yeah? So this is actually the same, more or less same story. Yeah?
So just to summarize and make it also very concrete for SAP. Obviously, D and E series are our bread and butter machines, so they are almost everywhere. So in the case of an SAP system, you would really look at the M series. That's the series that is not available in all the DCs. So that would be the anchor point, as you said, for our PPGs. And then once I have laid this anchor, then I would select the other virtual machines, E series, D series, and so on. And we will start building up the PPG.
Exactly. You will select this most not so unique machines like D series, E series, or you will select the availability set where those machines are living, so to say. Yeah.
Cool.
And then actually you have the minimum proximity, the minimum proximity you can get from latency perspective. Yeah. And this is, of course, this is absolute. This is, don't forget, this is always coming together with functionality, which is always must. This is an accelerator network so the customer should enable on all virtual machine accelerator network, because this is also very, very important for SAP landscape, because application server and database is always very chatty. Yeah. So it's very crucial to have this accelerator network enabled on that both sides.
Cool. Perfect. Well, thank you.
Yep.
I think that was really good. You mentioned, I think, the video that we can also reference, obviously, in the notes. So if you want to take another deep dive into PPGs, then we can link to the other videos. Actually, do we have some documentation on PPGs?
I mean, there's a standard documentation. It's actually just 2-3 pages, because if you think about that concept, is nothing special inside. It's just a little bit maybe difficult to digest that concept. Yeah, but it's very easy to set up. There's examples in PowerShell command line interface. We'll put that below our video, and I mean it's very well documented. Yeah. And the best way is just simply, because it's free functionality, you can just simply play it and test it. PowerShell is very simple. But this trick is only, like availability set concept. All those concepts like availability sets and PPG, availability zone, if you don't think in the first step about them, this is architecture principles. It's very difficult to change later. I mean, very difficult from the perspective that you need to download, shut down your systems. And, shut down in productive systems is always tricky. You always need to have some time window where you can do something like that. Yeah, but it's sensitive. It's better to start
from the beginning.
From beginning. And there's before a few days I had a very interesting question where one of the partner asked, okay, can we start, because we are not sure, do we need more application server? Yeah? So then they say, okay, can I start with one virtual machine in availability set and just keep it like that? And when I need more virtual machine, I will just join to availability set just to save that downtime time. I say, I mean, if you have one application server, probably we are talking about small customer and so on, probably, probably you have your time window to change something much bigger than in big customer, which they have maybe 10 or 20 application servers. I think it's better to draw the line and say, and this is also my point where I always try to advocate that we should always go with small application servers, not one big one, because from scalability perspective in Azure, it's much easier to predict what is happening. If you have some batch job, it's always easy to monitor what is happening when you need to have this batch job. Do you need some extra power there and so on? But it's of course on the other side not so easy to always scale application server in that way. Just hint. I mean, a little bit rare architecture, a little bit rare factoring is also not bad. Yep, that's all from my side.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I think that was really great. A good follow-up on the PPG topic. Good. I think with this, we're done for this week.
Is this record? We are below 20 minutes or not yet?
Oh, actually, I don't know. I need to check, but I don't think that we have a full hour again, like last time. So we want to keep it shorter.
Okay.
But next time, hopefully, we'll be again in the full round with Goran as well, and then we'll take a closer look at the shared disks. And yeah, I think.
I mean, I will also maybe use take this opportunity to invite people to, if someone want to go really deeper with like PPG, I mean, we are trying to compress that. It's maybe clear for us, maybe it's still not clear for other guys. Yeah, maybe if someone want to really go deeper, we can create complete session just for that topic. So guys, if you want that we go deeper in the clustering or whatever functionality close to SAP on Azure topic, of course, just let us know. We'll create special videos just for that, and probably those videos will be not 20 minutes. Yeah, will be much longer.
We'll do that.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Till next time. Yeah.
Thank you. The usual disclaimer: please subscribe. Please share and whatever, and then we'll talk next week again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.